Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome all of you. This is Nancy McPhee. I'm with the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau, and we apologize for turning the workshop into a webinar. We thought it was best. Many of you are located in remote areas of the county. We're not seeing the storm yet downtown, so we have about a dozen people here with us at the VCB. We're happy to see their face, and we wish we could see yours. So you're going to learn a lot this afternoon. We are going to make the webinar available to you next week in case you missed something. One of the requirements is to share your marketing plan with the VCB before you submit it. So hopefully we will get a chance to see you in person. I'm going to go ahead and begin. If you have a question at any time, there is an opportunity on your dashboard to raise your hand and ask a question, I believe putting into the chat box. Can Aaron go ahead and chat that yes, you can hear me, so that I know that everybody is attentive? Let's see. Where's the, why is it popping up? Oh, yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Neil and Aaron. I appreciate that. And hi, Diana. Okay. So we're going to get started. My name, again, is Nancy McPhee with the Visitor and Convention Bureau, and I administer grant funds for the VCB, and I'm also joined by Tricia Body of the Southwest Florida Community Foundation. So I'm going to run through the program that's offered by the Tourist Development Council, and then Tricia's going to do the part where you're going to learn about how to make your application. There's a little button. So just as a reminder, the goal of the Attractions Marketing Program is for the VCB to provide marketing guidance and financial assistance to nonprofit attractions that do a variety of things in Lee County. One of them is enhancing the year-round tourism opportunities here in Lee County. We know that many of you, or some of you, may be developing experiences that extend the stay of visitors. So you may not be doing something that's getting them to come here, but while they're here, they're having an enhanced experience because of the great things that you do. We also are highlighting the unique art and cultural offerings, which is how the program was born over 20 years ago. It's very important to talk about them when we're promoting Lee County. Some just quick facts that you may not be aware of, but directly are related to this program. When we speak of tourism, the Visitor and Convention Bureau is the arm of county government that is responsible for promoting the area for tourism. We had 4.7 million people visit Lee County in 2018, and when they visited, they spent $3.1 million. So that's very important for the economy of our community. As far as tourist tax revenues, that's how the VCB is funded. It is the short-term, what we call bed tax on short-term accommodations. We collected $42 million in fiscal year 18. And that directly correlates to about 1 in 5 jobs in Lee County. So tourism is very important, and you are an important component of that. This is a slide that just shows visitation. We rely on attractions that offer year-round experiences because visitation occurs year-round by our visitors. This is visitor visitation, not necessarily snowbirds or residents. It doesn't really change that much. We have peak seasons from January through about June when most of the visitors are visiting, but then we have 2 slow periods from July through October. But it doesn't really, in my opinion, drop off too terribly much. A lot of people want to correlate traffic and congestion to tourists when really I think it's winter residents that come in during the winter months to get away from their cold other residents. I think most tourists come and they plop themselves at the resort, and then, you know, they may stray out to visit your attraction, but I don't know that the peak in traffic and congestion can be blamed on the tourists. I mentioned tourist tax. Again, this program is funded by the tourist tax, as is the VCB. That's the 5% that you pay if you stay in a hotel or a vacation rental in Lee County. And there's a variety of things like state statute that a county can do with tourist tax. In Lee County, our Board of County Commissioners have chosen 3 of those things. And they are, just looking for my highlighter. Yeah, there's my laser pointer. They are marketing, of course. 53.6% of the funds that are collected, tourist tax dollars, goes to marketing the destination. It's how the VCB exists. It's how we're funded, and it's where the money from this program comes from. 20% goes to the stadium debt that we're, oh, that wants to do its own thing, doesn't it? The stadium debt of the 2 spring training facilities and other sports amenities, and then 26.4% goes to our beach and shoreline facilities. How do I get rid of the laser pointer? There we go. Whoops. Well, I want to get rid of the laser pointer. Turn it off. All right, here we go. So as far as dollars dedicated to marketing funding, there's 2 funding programs at the VCB. One of them is Arts and Attractions, which we're talking about today. And the VCB has allocated, or I should say the Tourist Development Council has allocated $5.4 million since fiscal year 2000 to attractions in Lee County. Together with the events marketing program that we have, we've dispersed $7.9 million. And this is all to nonprofit event or attraction partners in Lee County. No, winter, so there is a question about tourism numbers. Winter, if the difference between a visitor who stays in short-term accommodations, that would be 6 months or less. Winter residents, some usually own their home, and they're not paying into the bed tax because they own their own home, and many of them stay longer than that. So no, we do not include winter resident numbers in that figure. So the comparison of the 2 programs that I mentioned. We're here to talk about Arts and Attractions, which is in the left-hand column. Events Marketing is another grant program that is open to eligible 501c3s as well as 501c6s in Lee County. And that has a different set of guidelines. It's for multiple day events that occur year-round. Attractions that are applying through the program we're discussing today have a year-round component. They're doing things throughout the year that appeal to a visitor experience. Through this program, you're allowed to do some local spending. While the VCB, by law, does not market locally, you don't normally see ads that the VCB pays for locally. We encourage you to try some out-of-area marketing because nowadays it's easy to do digitally and with social marketing. So you're only encouraged to because we believe it'll strengthen your business, your attraction, if you reach out beyond Lee County. Events marketing, they're required to spend it 140 miles or beyond. They're not allowed to spend any TDC dollars closer than that to Lee County because the intent of the events marketing program is to drive revenue-producing room nights. Unlike the attractions marketing program is, again, an enhancement to the visitors that are already here. So the attractions marketing program that we're talking about today is a non-reimbursable program. That's why we have, well, that's one of the reasons why we have the Southwest Florida Community Foundation administer it, besides the fact that they administer many grant programs and scholarship funds. We allocate the funding for this program to them, and they disperse it directly to you early in the fiscal year. The events marketing program is by reimbursement. If you apply for funding through that program, you have to expend the dollars and wait to get reimbursed. The cap, if you're thinking about how much you'd like to request from the TDC, through this program, it's $20,000. That's the maximum that we will fund to one attraction. The typical grant the grant amount in this program is anywhere between $2,000 and $12,000. That's the average. We have gone higher. We haven't gone up to 20 in several years, but that is actually a new cap. Many of you who have been with us for several years will remember it used to be 25,000. Now it's down to 20. 25,000 is the cap if you are an event that is driving room nights. You potentially can get that much, but you'll have to match it. This program that you're here to hear about today, we encourage you to invest other dollars, your own or other sponsors. The events marketing program requires a 100% marketing match, so it's quite a little bit more challenging, a lot more complex as far as the rules go. And of course, both programs require final reporting with the ultimate goal of measuring the return on investment of TDC dollars. And of course, measuring your own success with your marketing efforts. Who's available to get funded through attractions marketing? Here's the 5 bullet points. You must be legally organized as a 501c3 nonprofit or be a cultural or a department of local government in Lee County. You obviously must be in Lee County, believe it or not. I've had that question. Neighboring counties would like to apply for Lee County TDC funds, but sorry, we can't allow that. You must provide a current 990 when you make application. You must have your financial statement compiled by an independent review and make them available. This is a change from last year. We used to require you upload a copy of your audit, and we're not requiring that. We just want you to make sure it's done so that we can see it if we need it. Your tourism-based organization's facilities, programs, or services must be available to visitors most of the year. We recognize that some attractions have they go dark, perhaps, between performances or during the very heat of the summer, September. Many of them are not open, but for the bulk of the year, there must be something available to visitors. And then finally, we hope that you have a dedicated administrator. The VCB works with a lot of organizations, and we really need to know who it is that we need to reach out to if we have a question. It doesn't have to be a paid person. We recognize many of you are nonprofits and are operating as volunteer organizations. So I'm checking every once in a while. I don't see any questions.
Do you have a question?
Oh, is there a question in the room?
I think I saw it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big surprise for us, the external review.
Yeah.
There's always a grant requirement, an audit requirement.
I understand, but one of our people met with you and
yeah, and they
believed
asked
that had changed.
I said that there would remain an independent review, and then you hold the review, and then if the community foundation needs it or we need it, we would request it. You don't have to submit it with your application.
I think there's a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
You used to have to submit it with your application. I remember them asking me that question. I hadn't gotten final approval by the TDC, but the final word is that you must conduct it. It doesn't say auditor on there, but you must conduct it, and you must have it available if we request it.
So you don't have to have an auditor?
You don't have, so some nonprofits have financial people that conduct a review as independent, unbiased. So yeah, that would be allowed. Okay, as far as the guidelines go, now the guidelines for this program are posted at leevcb.com. And you should have known that already, many of you that have applied through us before. All of our documents are always available at leevcb.com. So I'm not going to go through every single guideline. I'm just touching the highlights. Let's just see here. So the question is, do you look at a series of years for the financial statements or just the last year? If you've applied through this program before, we have prior years. The Community Foundation keeps them. We don't, our subcommittee that reviews your request can't go through. We want them to look at your grant request, not your financial statement. So you're just going to have a financial review done of the current year and make it available should we request it. All right, so this grant will fund eligible marketing initiatives only. We'll go through what's available in a minute. If you decide to shift gears mid-year, you need to make us aware so that we can check with the subcommittee. And that's important because this program is not by reimbursement. So we're expecting that you're spending the dollars on what was approved by the subcommittee. The final report, this will go into more detail in the guideline packet, but you'll be required to submit one, and that needs to include specific information about the results of your marketing placements. We encourage every applicant to show out-of-county visitor participation from the organization's most recently completed fiscal year. Most attractions are tracking their visitors upon entry to the attraction or whatever it is you're doing, and you should be asking the question, are you a resident of Lee County or are you not? That's how you track out-of-county visitor participation. Remember, these are tourist tax dollars, so we need to quantify the number of visitors we're touching. Partners will be required to provide specific information about how out-of-county visitation data is collected, And I believe there's a sample of a survey that you can use. You don't have to use ours. There's a variety of ways to capture data, including Google Analytics and some of the marketing placements that you make. The funding is for projects that occur within the designated fiscal year only. So this program application that you might prepare for us is for fiscal year 20, meaning October 1st of 2019 through September 30th of 2020. The funds don't get extended into the new year. You have to expend them by September 30th. All printed materials, signage, or advertising placed with TDC funds must credit the TDC, and this has always been a rule. And if you look at the slide, it seems to cut off, but if you're placing in-county marketing placements, this is the logo we'd like you to use, Lee County Tourist Development Council. And that's an effort of late, fairly new, by Lee County to make our residents in Lee County aware of what the tourist tax dollars are doing that benefit us as residents. So our tax dollars, as residents, aren't paying into this, tourists are paying for it, but we're benefiting. We know that many locals come to your attraction. And finally, I mentioned it earlier, applicants are encouraged to have their marketing plan reviewed by the VCB marketing staff prior to submitting. If you've done this for many years, it's just a simple email, maybe, for us to take a look at it. L.A. Thompson, who's with me today, is one of our marketing managers who's very attuned to what works based on your attraction. We'll take a look at your website and social marketing platform. Make sure if you've got a robust Facebook page, then you should probably be investing TDC dollars into social marketing. If you need your Facebook or Instagram page or your website improved, we'll coach you on how to get that done. So I mentioned some guideline changes to this program. If you've been around for a few years, I wanted to recap what was changed. That was the reason for having you come in person, so that we could be sure you understood it. So each year our subcommittee meets and they say, are we going to change it up this year? What do we want them to do differently? We feel like the big thing this year was the move to digital. I'll go through the first one. Of course, I already mentioned is the allocation dropped from $25,000 to $20,000. I can't remember the last time we gave anyone $25,000. So we dropped it because there's more than 40 attractions that apply through this program, and this will be a way to touch more of them, perhaps, with another change I'm going to mention in a minute. We maintained the requirement that you need to be a 501c3. There was discussion of 501c6s being allowed, but that was not approved. Here's the other audit requirement that changed, and this is the language that I had to get approved, and I met with your person before that happened. This is the language they approved. Revised, the audit requirement is now independent review of financial statements must be submitted upon request. Again, 44 applications were reviewed last year, and our subcommittee really can't be bogged down with looking at a document like that. That's more for the staff at the Community Foundation and the VCB to deal with. So the big change to attractions marketing was that we made a recommendation to move peak season events out of attractions marketing because they used to not be eligible through events marketing. Well, now they are. The events marketing program will fund in-season events. And as I mentioned before, when we talked about visitation, VCB used to not spend a lot of money advertising in peak season because our hotels were already full. Because of a lot of different challenges facing our tourism assets in the past few years, that has changed. That way of thinking has changed. We are advertising as a bureau during peak season, so why would we not let our event and attraction partners? So the events that formerly were funded through attractions were moved out of this pot, again, creating an opportunity to provide some of the funding that went to them to go to some of you. The final one, and this is the big one because a lot of you did this before, I already mentioned digital and social marketing. This is the trend, and this is what works, and it's also measurable. So to encourage the growth in digital and social marketing, the printing and distribution costs for travel guides, attraction maps, rack cards, and direct mail will no longer be eligible for reimbursement through the program. That doesn't mean it's not important. These are items that are more difficult to measure, and it's all about measuring when you're talking about tourist tax dollars. You want to measure, if you're touching visitors, you want to measure what your marketing placements, how they performed. So putting a rack card in a hotel lobby is not something that's easily measurable. You can still do it and list it with your own funds as a match if you would like, but this is the recap from the TDC meeting in March, and these were we haven't had guideline changes for this program in probably as long as I've been at the Bureau, which is probably almost 12 years. So yes, I know that it's going to affect some of you, but many of our attractions are moving towards electronic versions of their maps or rack cards, because then the VCB can share it. I cannot share a paper copy of a rack card because we don't have a visitor center. We have the airport kiosks, but we are restricted on what we can share, and we share our Lonely Planet Visitor Guide with visitors that come to the airport. Go ahead.
What about Peach?
I'm sorry?
Peach something that you distribute to all the schools in the state.
Peachtree, like
Peach Care. Peach.
I forget what the system is, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Is that considered digital?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
I think
have to look at it.
I think it's the distribution that they use to get to parents. Is that correct?
Right, it's all electronic as well.
Right. We can talk about that and let you know. It sounds like that's an event marketing piece. I know our sports groups do that kind of thing, marketing to schools throughout the country. We want to jump into what's eligible through the attraction marketing guidelines. There's a complete list in your guideline packet, but the 4 things at the top: grant funds may only be used for the design, production, placement of print, TV, radio, and billboard ads, digital marketing efforts such as online advertising, social media campaigns, search optimization, and e-marketing, the design and construction of a new website or enhancements to an existing website, excluding web hosting fees, photography and video projects that support and approve marketing campaigns. So these are things that the VCB does. These are things that are measurable. We've had attractions that have done video projects with attractions funding through this program, and they did them 2 years ago, and they're continuing to bring attention to the destination. So there's the shelf life, there's the distribution method, and So no, the design, we can talk about there's another question about the printing and distribution, and this is exactly what's available. The design, production, and placement of print, TV, radio, and billboard ads. That's what's available, right there.
Would an enhancement to a website that basically introduced or integrated in, what's it called, SquareTrade? For
Square.
Square, not SquareTrade.
Yeah, we're trying to get
Square.
better online payments.
For paying.
And PayPal is difficult, and Square is new, but that's going to be, yeah.
So would this program fund that? My first reaction would be probably not, because that's an operating expense. How does improving putting a POS system on market to a visitor? First, we want you to market to them, and that's what we want, the TDC wants to pay for. That's my knee jerk, but you could put it in the subcommittee.
Yeah.
I would agree with you, Nancy.
Yeah. So, okay. So those are the items that are eligible. Now, if you have items that are on the fence, or you used to do them for years and years, and you want to talk about them, that's why you need to call the VCB. Ultimately, the VCB does not make the recommendations for funding. The subcommittee does, but they value the marketing expertise on the VCB's team, and that's why they want us to vet your marketing plan before you submit it. So get in touch with us if you still have questions about that. Again, grant funds may not be used for seasonal brochures, playbills, and member newsletters. the printing and mailing or distribution costs of travel guides, attraction maps, wrap cards, or any direct mail projects. Again, you can still do them. There is a match encouraged on this. Your application will be favorably viewed by the subcommittee if you're showing an investment. For instance, many nonprofits use Visit Florida to help them achieve their goals as it pertains to design and printing or distribution of pieces that go in the Visit Florida welcome stations or anywhere else in Florida for that matter. So there's other opportunities and other groups that you can partner with. If you want to reach out, we'll help you with that. So at the bottom of this list, there's a list of required documents, and this is going to be in the application. I don't want to get bogged down on it here, but you can go ahead and read the 501c3 designation letter. So the question is, we utilize the help of a digital ad agency for the creation and distribution of our social, and can these funds be used for social unique campaigns? So yeah, I believe the answer is yes, Neil, but you mentioned this year. So next year, you mean in the upcoming cycle? Yeah. So let's talk about that. Come on in and chat with LA and I. But I believe, yeah, we recognize that all the attractions don't have the marketing expertise. So what about paper brochures, pamphlets for printing of year-round programs? Now, we already mentioned that printing paper, and I'm not sure where you're distributing it for your year-round programs, but we already mentioned that the TDC subcommittee pulled that out as an eligible item. Here it is right here. Printing is no longer eligible. I know that's a tough one to swallow. That's why we wanted to make sure everybody sat in on this webinar. If you have any thoughts, feel free to follow up. These are the 5 items that are required. Your designation letter for nonprofit status, your operating budget, and we don't need to see every single line item of your attractions operating budget. If you want to just give us a couple bullets of where you're spending the bulk of your operating dollars, we're more interested in your project budget with the marketing plan. So what is your marketing plan, and what pieces are you asking the TDC to fund? And in a minute, I'm going to show you Appendix A, which is located on the Community Foundation's website as well as leavevcb.com. Goal setting and outcome reporting, we started doing that with you 4 years ago. We want you to set goals for your attraction as far as attendance, who your visitors are, and then you're going to measure them at the end of the year that we fund you. You're going to provide us the results of the goals that you set. And then, of course, your post-grant reports, which I believe some of you, if you're funded this year, just got an email that the deadline for current year is May 31st. Here's a peek at Appendix A. Here's the eligible items through the program this year. You're going to provide a description, the amount you're requesting, and then the estimated reach of that marketing tactic. And depending on what it is, you know, an ad agency or your publication can help you with that.
I'm always a little confused about that because the part of my marketing plan on the app that we have been developing is the projected cost for this coming year cycle exceeds the $20,000 limit. So although I've been invoiced for $28,000, how would I put that in there?
Well, the cap for this program is 20, so you can't ask for more than 20. We recognize that your projects exceed what the TDC is willing to fund. That's why you have to find masters.
Okay, so how do we enter that on that piece?
There's a text box here, but there's also a question on the application that says explain your project in detail, and you would provide a paragraph or two about what your project is, the total cost, and what you're going to ask the TDC to fund. Okay, all right. Again, we're happy to help you before you click submit to submit it to the Community Foundation. This is Appendix B. Again, it's important to have goals. These are suggested goals, easy to do. You should all know, you should all have a goal for attendance. All we're asking you to do is qualify who they are. Are they local? residents, or are they visitors from out of the area, hopefully staying in a hotel and replenishing the tourist tax so that this budget can go up in the future. Website traffic, that's easily obtained by whoever your webmaster is. You need to check with them and they can give that to you. So you're going to, for this year for next year's cycle, you're going to put in your objective, and then next May, when you do your post-grant report, you're going to put the results in that box right there.
And if there are some of you who don't have a webmaster and you just do your website yourself, Google Analytics allows you to check how much traffic is coming to your site as well. And that's a free service to Google.
So there's a question about online news, digital. That is considered digital. We hope that it's placed perhaps on the outside the region, not just locally. I can tell you that some of the comments in the subcommittee meeting last year were, you know, some of the publications that we're seeing advertising in are very, very local. So I'd encourage you to explore publications that touch neighboring counties and beyond. It's easy to do with digital advertising. And Kelly's asking to show the last slide. So I'm not sure which slide that would be, whether it would be this one or this or the one before it. But again, I'm going to make this available to you, so it'll be posted on the website on Monday. So we're going to keep going. We are asking all of our attraction, any partner that gets funded by the TDC should have a listing on fortmyers-sanibel.com. I've been talking a lot about leavecb.com. That's our partner website where you, as a tourism partner, should be going to learn everything there is to know about tourism, who the target markets are for the Visitor and Convention Bureau, so that you know where we're placing our advertising. And then there's a consumer website, and that's fortmyers-sanibel.com. To date, since October 1st, there's been 1.4 million visits, and this is a slide from a week and a half ago. So there's probably, that number is probably higher. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to have a listing on fortmyers-sanibel.com. That is where people are going, because those tourism, remember what I said, $42 million was collected last year, and we spent more than half of it on advertising. Well, not all of it, but we have like a $9 million marketing budget. So the bulk of that's being placed out of market, and visitors are using fortmyers-sanibel.com to research their potential vacations. So you need to have a presence there. So we hope that you've already got a listing. If you don't, you can call us up and we'll help you. Not just an attraction listing, but if you do events at your attraction, those events should be on our event calendar. This is an opportunity to showcase your business to thousands of potential visitors. It's free. There's no fee. It's available to any Lee County business or attraction providing a service relevant to the tourism industry. And it will then drive traffic back to you. We can tell you, this is the web address right here, fortmyers-sanibel.com. The home page has a partner registration tab. You go to that and click through, and we have staff here in the office, namely Josh Lambert, that can help you if you need it. Here's an example of those 1.4 million visits and where they looked when they went to our website. Of course, the home page is the top bar. The second bar is current beach conditions. Well, the beach is the #1 reason through our research that people come here. Plus, we've had some challenges when it comes to water quality. So people want to see what's going on with the beach. Second most visited area is vacation rentals, and that should be because the bulk of what we do is to drive eyes to our lodging partners. And look at events. Events and See and Do, which is where all of you could live on our website, are the next most visited areas of the site. So please get your listing created. Here's partner referrals. So fiscal year to date, 253 referrals. That means people clicked on your attraction listing on our site, and then they click through to your site. That's good for you. You want them to do that.
Is this an example of Mount House? You said Mount House on the bottom.
Actually, I'm sorry, it's not.
Okay.
My goal with that was to make that a live link to click through to show you what Mount House's listing looks like.
Oh.
Thank you. I wouldn't have seen it. I forgot it was there. But Mount House has a nice listing. They've even got a video. You can, and you would manage that. You can upload photos. You can upload a video. You can edit it if you if you think you have a listing and it's been a while since you looked at it, you might want to update it. You might have new stuff at your attraction. So again, please have a listing. Another way, there is a question on the application that says, how are you collaborating with the VCB? The committee wants to know, do you work with the VCB on a regular basis? Number one, bring us your marketing plan. We'll take a peek. Number two, have a listing. Number three, come to Travel Rally. Wednesday, May 1st. It's our end of season, which we hope season never ends, but historically, this is, I think, our 6th year. It's a big party for our tourism partners. Lots and lots of hoteliers come, and the people that you want to know more about your attraction are those frontline hospitality staff that work with visitors every day. So if you've not got a booth, go ahead and sign up for one, or else just come and play. There's free admission, free parking, free train rides, free food, and we hope to see you there on Wednesday, May 1st. Another way you can collaborate with the VCB is to attend Guest First. Our executive director has a goal to be the friendliest destination. Right, Harriet? We already are, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So you can put your staff or yourself through free customer service training. There's 8 different classes. You can take a test if you would like. And if everyone at your organization is successful through Guest First, you become a certified Guest First attraction, I suppose. The VCB has 100% participation. A couple of our beach park facilities have done so, and a couple of our hotels. So we're excited about that. Again, it's free. And believe it or not, frontline people, that touch visitors can make or break the opinion of our whole destination. So this is the purpose of Guest First. Here's the attractions timeline. I'm going to wind up my portion and let Tricia go in just a second. Whoops. Let me just see if there's a question here that I need to answer. Okay. So April 12th was last week, and the cycle opened on April 12th. That was our first attractions workshop. We're here today on April 19th. You all, if you don't already, Tricia's going to show you how to get into the portal to make your application. May 24th is your deadline to submit your application. May 31st is your deadline for your post-grant report if you receive money this current year that we're in right now. Once the VCB reviews the applications for funding, we give them to the subcommittee, and they review them. And again, there's usually over 40. It's a lot of time that they dedicate to that. They have a meeting to discuss recommendations. At the August TDC meeting, the TDC formalizes what each attraction will get. And on October 1st, you're notified. Of course, if you come to the TDC meeting on August 8th, you'll know. But August 1st, we formally notify you, and you're invited to a check presentation in November. Please recognize that although there were 44 that applied last year, only 38 received funding. So do everything you can to achieve everything that the guidelines ask you to achieve, and including meet with the VCB. And don't wait, because we travel a lot. So if you want to meet with us, it's never too early. We've already had 4 attractions come and visit and sit with us. This is a list of staff here at the VCB. Leslie Ann LA is here with me today. Courtney manages our website, and Josh is our listings coordinator. So he would be your best friend if you need to get a listing on our site. We also have a co-op program, and Elizabeth Escribano manages that. That would be something you'd have to buy into. So if you want to use some of your match dollars to buy into a co-op to perhaps feature your attraction so it stays at the top of the page, you can explore that option. Comes available in August, and we will keep you informed as we move forward. I'm going to just check real quick. See a hand there. Okay. So that concludes my portion of the training. I'm going to turn it over to Trish. And I appreciate all your questions. And I know you probably still have some. Just don't hesitate to reach out to us at the VCB.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. So my name is Trisha Body, and I'm the new grants manager over at the Southwest Florida Community Foundation. Today, my portion of the presentation is going to be going over the grant portal. I believe there's several people that have been through our portal last year. It was a new portal. So this will be a refresher for you. This presentation specifically goes into some pretty specific details, and it's more of a reference point. I imagine that you're not going to be able to see everything I'm doing completely if you're far away, but if you download on our website, if you go to floridacommunity.com and you go to the nonprofit section and you go to arts and attractions, there will be a link to this in a PDF. So when you are doing, getting into your portal and you do have a question, if you want to reference this, you can probably see it, because I may go a little fast just because there are quite a few details. Also on there, you can find the timeline and guidelines that were approved by the VCB. You can also see the presentation that Nancy just did as well if you have any questions about that. And we've also uploaded Appendix A and Appendix B for this application cycle. So right there on that website, you'll be able to get almost all of the tools that you can have. But obviously, if you have any questions, you can always give me a contact or send me an email or give me a call, and I'd be happy to assist as well. But I wanted you to know that ahead of time, just because you may want to find them and they're all there. And also throughout this presentation, there are clickable links to get to the Appendix A and the Appendix B there as well. So if for some reason you started the portal, don't worry. We have the ability to click inside the portal to download those documents that you will have to upload as well. So I am going to move forward, and again, I might go a little fast, but only that's because there's quite a few details, and it's more for you guys when you're actually applying if you have any questions. So really what I'm going to go over is how to register and the steps to apply. And the real questions that you'll have for yourself are going to be these. Did you apply last year? And in which case, if you did, you probably have already a profile. And you may have forgotten your password from the year prior. I will go over that, but there is a forget password. And in any case, if you can't figure that out, send me an email. I can regenerate a password very quickly for you as well. So no worries on that. And then you can see my explanation points. If you already have an account, that's exciting. All right, so the first thing you're going to do when you go to apply is you're going to go to floridacommunity.com. Up here in this corner is a little login. Again, in the back, you guys are going to have a hard time seeing it, and I do apologize. But once you click on there, it's going to take you to our grantee view, which is our portal. When you start, there's going to be two things to look for. It's one, you forget password, which I will show in a minute, but there it is below if you do. And then if you already have the account, you can go to grantees, and you're going to do begin registration. This is what it's going to look like. Again, it looks small, and I do apologize. Forget your password. Once you click on that, you'll be going to this interface right here. It will send you a password. Once it sends you a password, just follow, and it'll allow you to regenerate a password. All right, so starting in applications, if you actually go to the grantees tab right here, and you click on it and you put register to begin, or you can go down here where it says register to begin new application. Those are ways in which you can start. If you're creating a new account, this is when you're going to do the application, and it's going to ask you for your first name, your last name, and your email address. Once it does that, you're going to click submit. And again, over here, if you're looking for your answers, I have them pretty laid out of just kind of step by step. Once you hit submit, it's going to go to your email, and once you get to your email, you're going to click through, and it's going to take you right here to a new application registration continue page, which you would create your password if you're a new you're new at registering to the portal, and then it'll ask you a few questions which you will fill in, and then you'll press submit. As you'll see, I had to black out some information, but one of the most important things when you are a new applicant is that you want to tag yourself to the right application or the right organization. This is key, specifically if your organization has already applied for a grant before, because it will already have your 990 or your EIN numbers, and it'll have that information in there, so it'll make it much easier for you. So once you get in here, and if you search, write your official name on there. Try not to use too many acronyms unless you created that or you think potentially it was created that way. But once you get there and let's say you find it, you're going to select Add Grantee Admin, which is going to be over here. And if it's not there and you don't click Admin, there is under here where it says Add Grantee Organization. And just as a side note, once you do add as a grant admin, I will have to go in and on the back end and acknowledge that it actually is you. We try to make sure we are as careful as possible about people who are trying to get in and maybe register to your organization. So if you want to send me an email afterwards, just letting me know that you created a new account and that you want your access, because that'll give you access to like applications from prior years. But if you just go in and I haven't allowed you to become an official grant admin, you won't be able to see the application information from prior years. That's just for privacy purposes. So if for some reason your organization is not there, you're a new organization, first time, you will add your organization's information here. Once you do that, you'll click submit. And once it's confirmed, it'll say, I'm sorry, do you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. It'll just say that you're confirmed, and that's when you can start your application. So you'll go back to your grantee dashboard right here. For individuals who have done this before, that dashboard also is a place where if you have created an application but have not submitted it, maybe you were in the process of doing the application and you stopped and you saved it, it will be there as well, and it'll actually say that it's in process. So if for some reason you go back in and you go to your dashboard, it'll be there as well. So if you are creating, again, a new application, you're going to have to find an open grant cycle. The reason why we do this is because we have several grants that we do administer, and these specific questions, while long, kind of designate us where to put you into the right grant. So the key thing that you'll want to do is make sure that you pick the one that says arts and culture, and all those questions will be right there. And once you do that, you can hit submit, and it'll take you right to the grant cycles, where right under here, if you have answered the pre-qualified questions correctly, will get you to the Lee County Arts and Attractions Marketing Grant, which you will click and hit continue. You will put in your project or program or application name here. You'll click start. Then you will get to the dashboard. If for some reason you've already were in review and you've already had your application and you're working on it, and you go back and where it says to your dashboard, this might also be before that where you can see the application in review. So once you get here, there's a few things to know. One, right here where it says, anybody in the back, I apologize, it'll say click and download Appendix A and B. You can click at those at any time to download them, to upload them once they're filled out. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start with Section 1. And once you do that, right here, it says organization information. And it will step by step go through. You fill out the information, you hit save, and go to next, which is right here. And it'll say it right here on that as well. Same thing goes for the next questions about your organization. And then you'll hit save and go to next. And then this is where the application narrative is, and this is going to be where you're going to put the bulk of your application information. You will have to write your project name here again. And then you will follow up with the 6 questions that will be below. A couple of side notes just for best practices. You may want to write those questions in Word and then copy and paste them into the form. I've heard that from a couple people that that's been very easy for them to do, so just as a suggestion. So once you complete it and you have all of the questions filled out properly, you can hit save and go to next. You see any hands? Should I check?
Yeah, just click on the little hand, and then now click on the question mark. So it's, can there be one, one person?
Yep. Can one or more person be listed as a co-administrator? The answer is yes. They would be a grant admin as well. To the best of my knowledge, more than one is fine. They just have to be authorized to do so. So, for example, people call and say that grant admin has moved on. And that's actually a good thing to do as well. So for example, if you are creating a new account and your organization already had a grant admin and you don't have the password for them, the best practice would be to go in and create your own profile. Once you do that and you create the admin, and maybe if you do send me an email and let me know that you're the new admin, I will take off the other person if they're no longer the admin and make sure that you're the one who's receiving and being able to get into the account. That's a great question. Am I going this way?
Yeah, I think that.
Sorry.
And then the orange at the top. Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And then So upload and complete your application. This is a very important step. Right under here, it's going to say required documents. And Nancy had talked about this in her previous presentation. This is where you're going to have to upload all the documents that are required. Besides the questions that you'll go through and complete, there'll be one for the Appendix A, which you will upload. You'll click Details. Once you click Details, I'm going to just show you how to do that. It'll bring you to the Upload Required Documents application. You select the file from the location, you hit Upload, and you hit Back. I'm just going to go here to show you what it's going to look like. When you first come here, your current status is going to say incomplete. Once they say completed, you can then hit Submit Application. So once you get to your review and submit, at this point, you will have already filled out all your required information. You will have uploaded all the documents that are required. You will type in your signature, put the date, and you will hit Submit Application.
I have a question. Can the applicants get a list of the questions that they're gonna have to answer and download them to the computer so that they know what's coming next? A lot of people, like for my events marketing,
Right.
They print it out, they fill it out, and then they go and do this part of it all in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, so one of the ways that you could do that is you could go in and start the application and you could view them that way. We can also talk about potentially doing something different, like making them available. But as of right now, yes, once you go in, you can take a look at the questions, pull them out, and then you could
Save it as a draft.
save it as a draft and do it as you can. Does that answer that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So then, 2 things to know is you're going to receive an email with that confirmation saying that you've applied for the application. If you have any questions at that time, feel free to send me an email or call me. But right here, there's going to be a little number, and that's going to be your reference ID. Probably best when you get it in your email just to save that email in a special spot just in case we need to reference it as well. And then next step, the application is open. So you're more than welcome to go in there right now. Once you go in there, if you have any questions, again, give me a call. The registration guide, just to be redundant, if you go onto our website and you go to nonprofit, you're going to be able to see the guidelines, the timeline. You will see all the appendix there as well, so you have that. You'll be able to view this document, which will show you all the grantee steps. You'll be able to see Nancy's presentation as well. And then my contact information is also there as well. So if anybody has any questions.
I have a question.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Will we get an email basically saying that Nancy's presentation is now available online? We'll get that. And then my next question being, just because last year when I was filling it out, it had, in the process of filling out the grant, it timed out. It basically said, if you wish to continue, hit this button. And if you hit that button, it erases everything you typed in.
I am unaware of that error. However, I will take a look.
Did you look at that? Because it really is sort of, I was on a runway of an airplane at the time, and it really messed me up that it timed out and erased, actually.
Did they
everything.
switch program this last year?
No, we're still using the same application process.
If you test it yourself, you'll see that it does, it comes up and it says if you're about to time out, you got 4 minutes left, I think is when it comes up. And if it says press to continue, and it doesn't really say what to press, but if you hit the continue button, it erases the page.
I have tested the application. I have not seen that happen.
Okay.
And
You
that
probably
doesn't mean
haven't had a timeout on you.
it doesn't mean, yeah. What I would recommend everyone is to always hit save. And not to say that you didn't, but it's always a good process to make sure you're hitting save, especially if you're moving in between web pages. So I will look into that, but as an extra note, I would just recommend that you hit save when you can.
So Charlie.
Yes, you can, Charlie, yes, you can cut and paste into the questions into a document. So for example, if you're in there, you can just highlight the question, put it into a Word document if you wanted to, and you can also answer the question in a Word document and copy and paste it into that. And people are shaking their heads, they've done it before, that's great. All right, Michael, thank you, I appreciate it. I will ask about that. So thank you for the feedback.
can't remember 15 slides back, but I thought it said one of the requirements for this year's application was your year-end report, but the dates are out of sync. The year-end report is required after the deadline for the application.
So you'll see in there that it says it's a required document, but you don't need it to apply.
Thank you.
So, and thank you for saying that because I knew that would cause confusion but yes, and if you did get a post-grant report, you can email that to me.
I noticed you had it set up that way instead of going through their.
Yeah. And, that's there for probably a reason, but it's a great question. And another thing to note as well, because the cycles are kind of going at the same, not the cycles, the post-grant report is running very similar with the application. The Appendix B that you will be including in your post-grant report is actually different than the Appendix B that we currently have due to the VCB changes. So the one that I attached in the email that I sent yesterday, that is the one from the previous year report. And that information also, if you're looking for it, will also be in your portal with your application from last year as well. But if you have any questions about that, again, feel free to reach out to me about it, and I can troubleshoot that for you as well. But it's important to note that those two documents are a little bit different, and you can tell by the dates. It'll say cycles 2017, 2018, 18, 19, and then 19, 20. Sorry, thank you. But that's a great question, so thank you.
I think that's it.
So, and again, just reach out if you have any questions. But I appreciate your time on Friday during almost hopefully not too bad of a rainstorm.
Right, so we're just pausing. If there's any questions from those of you that are on the phone, now's the time to ask. We know it was a lot of information. We are happy to follow. You can follow up with us if you're welcome, Diana. One thing I did say was the TDC meets monthly, almost every month. There's a couple months that they don't, but again, leavevcb.com is where you can see the TDC schedule of meetings. There's public comment at the beginning of every meeting, and I want to just say thank you to those of you that come every once in a while and just say thank you to the TDC, as well as this is what I'm doing. This is the new thing at our attraction. You know, we've remodeled or we have new programs. They love to hear directly from you instead of me all the time. So don't forget that goes a long way. And we also do a series of sales and marketing workshops in the summertime as season winds down. LeaveVCB.com, the events calendar, those are opportunities for you to interact with us. And including, I mentioned the travel rally, but in the fall we have our annual meeting where we roll out our sales and marketing plan. And I know many of you rely on that for your grant application because you like to see where the VCB is conducting their marketing. We also have statistics and surveys from our visitors on that leavevcb.com. So I would not hesitate to explore that website because it's there for you so that you can make your attraction as business ready as possible. So for those visitors. So I think that's all we have. Of course, you guys, if you have questions, we're here for you. But I want to thank you all. We will send an email as soon as the webinar is posted in the event that you have to go back to it. We look forward to meeting you and getting your applications in the future.
I have one last add,
okay,
and I apologize. I actually do have if you do want to see the questions and you're in the portal, you can hit view as a PDF. Sorry, it's a Friday, but you can hit view as a PDF and you can download it, and that will have the applications as well as some instructions about those questions on there as well. So that might be something you can do is go into the portal, start, and then download the PDF, and that'll be able to provide that information for you, and I apologize.
Okay, so it's a little after 4. Oh, it's 4 o'clock on the dot. Wow, good job, Trish. And it's not raining downtown. So again, I apologize for not being able to do it in person. Thank you for those of you that did come in. And we're here if we need you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.